Hi, friends. Host Eric here. I was talking to fans people, and somebody whose mood has shifted dramatically the last 15 or 20 minutes or 30 minutes. When I woke up, I had a little bit of meow in my heart. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not sure where it was from. I think it was just from maybe not having the best night's sleep, although I slept pretty well, really.
Hi.
Hi, George Foreman. But Diamond put this great quote in the comments that said, if people carry immense courage to the world must break them. And I thought it was a very flattering quote because she's suggesting that I am, in fact, carrying immense courage into the world. My point is actually this. I don't need any courage because my position is as long as I maintain the moral high ground, it's, it requires no courage to maintain my position. It's the most natural thing in the world. It's like, do I think Jordan Peterson was courageous for standing his ground on those pronoun things? No, of course not. There's nothing courageous about that at all. That's being right. It takes no courage to be right. It takes courage to be wrong and persist in it. Cloud's courageous.
Yeah, you can't take that away from him. He is, though. Can't take that away.
He's persistently wrong. Damn the torpedoes. Full steam ahead. That takes courage. Being right doesn't take any courage. Having the moral high ground doesn't take any courage.
You think it's easier because you know it's the right thing?
Right. The reason I don't require any courage to go and say, middle finger to the people who are attacking me is because I'm in the right. They're in the wrong. They have to attack from the shadows because they're ashamed of themselves. I don't because I have the moral high ground.
That's very true. Okay, here we go. Oh, no.
Oh, my poor darling. I know we have more lighters around here, goddammit. We must.
See,
I refuse to believe that we've used all the lighters. I know I stashed a whole pack of them someplace,
You stashed most of them inside there.
But they're all gone now?
Yeah, I don't know. There might be some loose ones.
Rachel, I've asked you to not talk about women like that. You don't refer to them as loose or slutty or any of those other terms.
No.
You use, okay? I'm tired of it.
Oh,
We're feminists around here.
that's true. I have to be stronger than that.
Yeah. You might be right. You may be wrong. You may be now, but you might be right.
See, and the thing with that is that
ENTP is stupid.
matches.
That one's cash too?
Yeah.
Are you cereal?
Cereal.
All right, hold on. I'm not done yet. In regard to shame, you cannot be shamed unless you are already ashamed. Well, you can be shamed for things you shouldn't be shamed for. That's for sure. But I'm not susceptible to that anymore. The thing is, when you're young, you're still constructing your identity and your worldview and stuff like that. I mean, Legends Fall, it wouldn't matter to me because ultimately I would have the same position I do that he did about it, which is, I would be giddy about it. I would be giddy about the whole thing. Like, oh my God, are these people clusterfucking their way into this mess of nonsense? Don't worry, this will work. I just gotta get this close.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Should you be ashamed if your bussy keeps farting? I don't know what your bussy is. but I would say no, George. Just go ahead and fart freely. Tastes like air, huh?
It's not bad though, because I still get like a head.
Right. It's kind of like surprising head change almost. Like, oh wait, this is getting me high.
It is.
Despite the fact that it smokes like nothing. It's called runts. What's the biggest strength of a primary NE user? I mean, unfortunately, it's bullshitting.
Now, because of that, do you think that some ENTP, well,
I think most of them, most
We're down
ENTPs
the
and
wrong.
ENFPs, most ENTPs do nothing but bullshit. But it's like the reason, and the only reason I'm different is not because I'm smarter or something. It's because I had all this rigorous training with debate, so that because I'm watching my own debater Jeffrey be like I must have been back in the day, which is just ignoring NI all the time. It's like here he is, he's in a round or something, like person goes bad argument G, and I've got him prepped out with like slam to death F to respond to that, right? And he goes, but I've got a clever new idea. I'm going to say W. I'm going to say W. I just came up with it right now. Like, Jeffrey. Address your disappointment before I get too fried. I'm not going to get too fried. Don't worry.
Disappointment with what?
He says, can you talk about disappointment? For ENTPs and disappointment. I experienced disappointment the other night when Delilah told me she was going to stop over here and leave the pills for me on the table in there. And I woke up in the morning excited to go in there and grab my pills and take them. And there were no pills there. That was disappointment. That was my clearest understanding of disappointment. I was very disappointed, and it kind of ruined the whole day, frankly, because I was upset because I was expecting, with drugs, expectations are everything. As an ENTP, I can handle it directed at me, but I find it debilitating to realize I am disappointed in another. Oh. Samuel, I gotta say, I'm the opposite. I'm the exact opposite of that. I can handle being disappointed in others. I expect to be disappointed in others constantly. I mean, I'm not even disappointed. I don't have expectations for other people, really.
Yeah.
But I can't handle other people being disappointed in me. That hurts. That hurts. Because if somebody's genuinely disappointed in you, that means they're not mad. They're not. It means they're on your side, but you failed anyway.
Oh, that's so true.
So that's why that one hurts more. If you have an IQ of 250 and someone calls you stupid, I mean, I don't know what. It's like, from my perspective,
Hi, baby.
I have a very Forrest Gump perspective on intelligence and stupidity. Stupid is as stupid does. If people say stupid shit, the problem is they've said stupid shit, not that they're stupid. Rachel doesn't have coronavirus. She has bong rip virus. But I really think that, well, Freddie Forgiato, boom, on the nose. That's what I started singing yesterday morning when I got up and there was no pills. I'm waiting for my man.
Oh, yeah.
$26 in my hand. He's never early. He's always late. First thing you learn is that you always gotta wait.
Oh, she's so skinny.
Yeah, you are skittish this morning, kitty. There must be another cat out here somewhere.
Oh.
Is there somebody else out here? Another cat? You have a gentleman caller? I think maybe she has a gentleman caller. Although I don't see him outside. So what if it hurts? It's a chance to improve. Well, I mean, the thing is, if I am disappointing somebody, I don't really see it as a chance to improve either. I see it as clearly there was a page problem here. Because if I've disappointed you and it matters to me, then I care about you enough to not have disappointed you, which means probably I set some expectations that I failed to meet. And so the problem then is not that I failed to meet the expectations, really, but that I set them in the first place. That's how I would view it, is that I don't like setting expectations I'm not going to meet. The problem isn't that I don't meet those expectations that I set, it's that I set them in the first place. Let me see what Legends Fall says about FI Dom. You can't be shamed unless you're already ashamed. Probably easiest for an FI Dom to say y'all are very selfish that way. Everyone else can go fuck themselves. It's kind of a harsh way to put it, Legends Fall. I don't know if the FI Doms around here necessarily appreciate it being expressed in that way. We could probably come up with a gentler way to say the same general concept. Do I think Johnny Depp has overcome all the weaknesses of the INFP? Is Johnny Depp an INFP? I don't know if he is or not. You want to see somebody who's overcome all the weaknesses of the INFP? Watch the video of the guy I typed yesterday. That guy is a really realized INFP. And I can tell you in no uncertain terms, I felt like on my best behavior because I felt supervised all the way through, and I felt competently supervised. Like, it would hurt for that guy to be disappointed in me. It's like if I got to the end of that typing session and that INFP dude, Brian, was disappointed in my performance, I would hang my head so low. It's just I would just be like, oh, my supervisor just is disappointed in me, and they're an FI Dom too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, here's the thing. It occurred to me about our polar is the way to understand it is this: with each of the functions, you can engage them on some level potentially as an agent, that is, say, a way of being you, as a subject, a way of taking action, or as an object, something you consume or that happens to you. Okay, so that the reason polar is your polar is because it's an absolute value, but you can only engage it as an object. It only happens to you. It's never something that's part of you being you, nor is it something part of you doing you. Okay? It's only happening to you as an object. So when I have FI all the time, and Rachel sees it all the time when I'm watching TV and stuff, she sees this, the FI just happened to me, right? And then it just goes away. And then it's not part of, as far as I'm concerned, it's not part of who I am. When if it weren't for extensive thinking about cognitive functions and all this metacognition that we do around here, I wouldn't be thinking of myself as somebody who has a lot of emotional engagement with stuff. I'm aware now that I do because I'm so, like I said, metacognitive. But naturally, I don't consider those emotional experiences to be part of who I am at all. If they're not part of my agency or ontology, they're certainly not part of how I do, which I don't even understand how you would do something with that at all. I don't even get that. But I do understand that it's something that I experience periodically. So the reason your polar is your place of least resistance is because it is an absolute value, so it's very important to you. but you have no agential or subjective control over it. It's just you're an object when it comes to that thing. And so, because Evelyn was asking, there's that guy who wrote that silly email trying to school me about cognitive functions, but didn't even argue anything that I was saying or anything, And the thing is, Legends Vault, you're right. I still necessarily do use FI to make decisions somewhat, in the sense that for things that are very clear cut, like, would you like a slice of pie or to be stabbed in the leg with a steak knife? Well, it's pretty, but even I don't think I have to use my feelings. I know when I use my feelings, and it's not very often. I can point to examples of me using my feelings to make a decision. For example, when I was going out with Kimberly, and she used to try to rewrite my personal history to make it such that my parents were abusive to each other and or to me, so that it would be like her personal history, I guess. I had trouble sort of negating that on logical grounds, right? So I'd say, but that's not what happened. But that's not accurate. But over and over again. And eventually I realized, I don't like this. You have to stop saying those things. And I don't need to justify my insistence that you do. Around me anyway, That's FI. The realization in that instance that, this is a boundary. I don't need to have a good reason for it. I don't like it. That's reason enough. That was an instance of me using FI to make a good decision after not using it for way too long. So, but those instances are rare. They occur very rarely that I make a decision like that I go, this is a personal boundary. I don't need to justify it. I just get to say no. Because as a general rule, I think I have to justify everything. I assume everything has to be justified. Oh, Peter wants some food.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah, setting boundaries is a big problem for FI polar, but especially for ENTPs. Being alpha quad, where we're really egalitarian, we're really, hey, let's all get along and have fun, guys. Our most native way is that. I think the most natural type for an ENTP to be is a 7. It's much more interesting seeing it play out in an INFJ. INFJ 7s are absolutely delightful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was, it's like, I really felt good knowing that when I got back home this morning, that Rachel would get up and there'd be weed for her to smoke. It's pretty stony.
It is pretty stony, and actually this Jolly Rancher is pretty stony too.
Well, here's what I would say about the cookie. These are good cookies if you're looking for a good type 7, meaning Enneagram. If you're looking for a strong edible, these are good cookies.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a good cookie,
no.
These are terrible cookies. It's hard to eat the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm like hardly halfway through.
You need probably. You need some coffee.
Breakfast, yeah.
You need some coffee.
You're right. Jeez, I just pick over things.
Hey, what happens when I leave things in the middle of the pathway? Christopher Caesar says, well, it depends on your system, I suppose, but your polar is your point of least resistance. Basically, this is an area of information which one naturally avoids or causes frustration when used. Well, I don't think anybody would disagree with your.
You look beautiful, Peter.
With some of what you're saying there, but the real question here is, why is the polar? In other words, why is it that ENFPs and ESFPs can consistently and predictably, 100% of the time, be expected to fail conditional logic tests completely, whereas other types do somewhere other than complete failure, regardless of, this would be especially so when you control for specific education in a thing, because it's one of the more learnable skills that links closely to a cognitive function. But it's still the case that the cognitive function and the skill are not the same thing. So the question isn't so much what does a polar manifest like, but why is it like that mechanically? So what's the mechanical explanation for that? Because, the mechanical explanation for why your fourth slot function is seeking is that it provides some sort of relief to a dominant function that is taking on too much jurisdiction for itself, so to speak. Running Fox, I'm not familiar with that brand name, Cookie Plugs, but the thing is, I don't mind this cookie failure because it's failing on the right side of the thing. So it's like, is it mealy? Yes. Is it dry and requires? It's almost like a what is it called? There's super scone. It's almost like a scone. Okay. If you've ever had scones before, they're the most mealiest, driest, most just like, give me some liquid, please. Foods you can imagine. That's what these cookies are like. They're like scones.
Did I press it?
Oh, you're burning the pot.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes, you pressed it.
Okay, good.
It's a going. It's a going. It's a flowing. Don't be a slowing down at all. Okay, so what am I looking for? I'm looking for a cigarette. That's right.
I was wondering, I was kind of inspired last night because I was watching a live stream of someone who's doing like a pick a card, and I was thinking maybe I can do that for a live stream, like already pre-do the piles. I'm not gonna know what comes out, but people in the chat can pick a number, and then I'll like live stream the reading as it goes.
Oh, sure.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, regarding polar, then the thing we have to explain is not how the polar looks exactly from an outside perspective, although that's worth doing as well. But that's the thing that everybody does analyze naturally most easily, which is other people as subjects. What gets underanalyzed in typology in general and understood is treating a function from the perspective of an agent or treating it from the perspective of an object, because we do all three. It's like failure to make that distinction has led to a lot of confusion. Oh, well, I see a lot of FI in that video he's making there. Well, what does that mean? I mean, isn't FI a way of paying attention? How can you see quote, a process in that? Well, the answer is, in that instance, we're evaluating that process as an object of analysis. And so we're treating it as an object. And that's one of the ways in which attention is channeled. So it's like you've got attentional manners, which are your functions, but you've also got perspectives, which are subject, object, agent. And whether or not we treat something as an object of analysis, or whether we actually engage in the process itself ourselves, both things happen and are different from each other. So we have to account for that if we're going to meaningfully, correctly do cognitive functions. This was the last piece of the puzzle that's finally come into place. I haven't actually had any sort of celebratory moment, to be honest about it. I haven't even really thought about it, but this was the last piece of the puzzle that's come into place. It's kind of finally now it all makes sense. It was that last thing that I needed. I was trying to figure out, like, well, how does this all link together? Well, it's three things. It's the function, the valuing approach, that is, say, absolute or instrumental, and the perspective, agent, subject, object. Those three things combined explain all the mechanics of cognitive functions. So it's like your tool function. You're instrumental from all three perspectives as a value. You see it instrumentally as how you do you rather than how you be you. You see it instrumentally as so from an agent perspective, you see it as a necessary check, I guess, or something. So you do understand it as part of yourself, but it's instrumental nevertheless. And then you mostly understand it as a subject, instrumentally as a subject. And you can treat it as an object perfectly fine from a subject's perspective. In contrast, if you look at, say, the back slot, fifth slot function, its absolute value, you see it as absolutely a part of yourself, which is to say you don't see it instrumentally as it's not something you feel needs to be justified. Truth is valuable in and of itself. The correctness of a thing is a goal that's worth attaining regardless of any utility. These are NITI kind of statements, right? So I see those as axiomatic. The idea that truth and I have to link, I see as axiomatic. The TI, when successfully applied, means I also think it has to be defensible. But keeping in mind that the TI is instrumental, that's why I say the NEDOM's number one thing is bullshitting. So I don't know. I haven't laid it all. I haven't put all the permutations out to determine what they all exactly are. But I would say that, one example of how that plays out is you're essentially have your agent and subject perspectives turned off when you're talking about your polar, and you only experience it as an object, and it's an absolute value, which means you don't experience it as an object that you have any agency over.
You want more food?
In other words, you don't have any instrumentality to it at all. It's just an end in itself. So those things all kind of link together in. And this cookie is so dry. I need more coffee. Rachel started brewing a pot of coffee, but it's not done yet. Hey, yo, are you being Ed McMahon, Ghostwriter? Is that an Ed McMahon reference? I really appreciate that, You don't get enough Ed McMahon references anymore. I miss old Ed McMahon. Hey, yo. Who is that, Ghostwriter? Ed McMahon is the guy who says, hey-oh. He was Johnny Carson's straight man, I guess you'd call him. He didn't really do much of anything, but he was a fixture on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Didn't he hope, didn't that man have his own show, or like was he on?
No, what he was mostly famous for, besides being on Johnny Carson show, was he was the main spokesperson for Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
Yes.
Ed McMahon's Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
Like the big check.
Yeah. That was his other big gig, I think, besides being on Johnny Carson, was being the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes guy.
Yeah, that's what I remember him as a kid.
I have a question for you, important one. Okay. You know, how to work through delusion of reference when on the spiritual path. Okay, well, first thing I would say is you're using numerals too liberally. So your first 4 there means the word FOR. Your second 1 means the number 1, or ONE. And your third 2 is the infinitive part of the verb to work. So you're going a little crazy there with your with your liberal use of numerals. I just gotta say, they're meaning all kinds of different things. Now, see, I wonder if the sigh. Oh, seeing signs that aren't there. The delusion of reference. Well, I mean, that's not a problem for me. So I don't know how to work through that. I think Rachel would have a much better ability to answer that question than me. She's susceptible to that, of seeing clear in-eye signs about things and catastrophizing them.
Yeah.
Rather than, it's not psychosis necessarily. It's an in-eye frame of reference gone overboard or overwrought. You know.
Right. It is.
How to do this is becoming a huge problem. The thing is, I think what's helped Rachel in part has been having me as an EDOM saying, "Oh well, but that's not the story I'm telling."
Thank God.
You know, at the end of the day, that's my answer to everything. Really, at the bottom line is because that's not the story I'm telling.
Well, or you even say, look at the evidence that is before you. You know, like look at the everyday. I'm like, oh yeah, annoy. Like if things were going really bad, I mean, there'd be more examples of it for me to reference than the things that I'm actually catastrophizing about.
I mean, Ghost Rider, it's not reality testing per se. Although there is that aspect to it. When I point out to Rachel, well, here's what the actual data that we have available to us, the SI data says, and it seems to run afoul of your NIQ, then that's reality testing. But what I'm saying is, because I'm an ENTP, I'm subject to the opposite kind of problem. I decide what reality is, and that's the story I'm telling is the story that comes true. And if I don't like this, then I just ignore it, and I just keep telling my story until everybody agrees with my story, and then it becomes true. So is that healthy? I don't know.
It can be.
Where the fuck are my cigarettes? God,
you have so many of them.
I know. Why do I always lose them?
In the car?
I must have left them in the car.
I can take over for a little bit.
Thank you, darling. I'll be right back. Now where are my keys? Here they are.
You're just playing with them, yeah.
Just playing with them.
What a day. Yeah, so Gross Rider says, I wish I could figure it out.
with spirituality, you can get signs sometimes, but I can get lost in that. And okay. So I totally resonate with that. When I first, I would say my spiritual journey started in 2015, but I didn't start experimenting with it until 2000, maybe like 18. Meaning like astral travel, meditation, looking for signs, throughout the world. And I swear to God, there was this one time I was in a relationship with a BPD guy, a guy who has BPD, and I remember looking for signs throughout that relationships to like try to tell me like, am I on the right track? Well, sure. Actually, I'm not going to lie. The universe showed me a lot of signs, things that I was asking for. But I also had really bad signs too. Like, I remember it actually hit me one time. I'm like, okay, like I need to like start getting a little bit more with reality because I'm starting to hurt myself. So the example that really hit home was I was still in this relationship with a guy even after trying to break up with him many times. And one night I had just gotten home from being with him and I was really contemplating. I'm like, yeah, I have signs that we're supposed to be together from the universe, but then we're so shitty together. Like, how could that be that like the universe wants this to happen? So I'm in my room and a glass breaks and I'm like, oh shit. It's all over the floor. I have to clean it up. And I slit actually my wrist with the glass. And for some reason, I took that as a sign of the universe being like, you need to wake up and like start being like more in touch with reality because you're starting to hurt yourself.
Yay, the coffee's done.
Yay.
That's, you're in a pretty good mood when small realities like the coffee being done brewing make you happy.
It is nice. That's a good start to the day.
Well, it's a sign that you're in a good mood because it's like when you're not in a good mood, the coffee's funny and you're like, the coffee's ready.
So true.
That's better than it not being ready, I guess.
I know.
Whereas I came in and I literally, kind of ridiculously, did this.
Yes.
This is a two-arm.
That's so
I did. And I walked in, I was like,
yes.
I looked to the coffee.
Yeah. I love it when you imitate things. You're such a good actor.
Thanks, darling.
You're welcome. So yeah, I would say being with Eric really helps me because oh God, sometimes a mind in spirituality and with learning spirituality can only think about spirituality and lose yourself in the real world. And that's when people start to,
that's when you get into spiritual.
Yeah.
It's like, don't be all spiritual. Be spiritual some.
Oh yeah, spiritual some, not spiritual all.
Right. Spiritual some.
Yeah.
Next time somebody asks me if I'm religious or spiritual, I'll just say I'm spiritual some.
I want you to go to a Teal Swan event and say that exact thing and see what she has to say that.
If any Dom thinks reality is subject to narratives, what's the NI perspective? The NI perspective is like, well, the planets are conjoining. Nothing we can do about it. It's going to be a shitty day.
But actually, it's been good. I was a little scared.
I don't know whether there was anything good or bad associated with the conjunction, except for I heard there was this book series that used the event of the previous conjunction as the unleashing of monsters into the world.
See, that's very sneaky.
Thanks, Razor M.
Okay, so I have my astrological hypothesis of the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn.
Let's hear it, Rachel.
So I actually think it's going to be a really good thing because Jupiter is the sign of benevolence and joy and money, wealth, and it's like the happy uncle. Oh no.
What? I was just showing this as an example of whatever you were
That's
talking
what
about.
I'm saying. Oh no to. It's not what I expected.
I was thinking maybe this could be the happy uncle.
Okay, so that's a happy uncle. So Jupiter is this huge planet, and it gives off a lot of light. But people with high aspects with Jupiter can sometimes, or hard aspects to Jupiter you can overdo it. So you could eat a lot. You could get you could get overweight. You can spend a lot. You can only be in spirituality and not really care about the real world. Saturn's the opposite. Saturn is the father who eats the children's heads.
He's not a very good
No.
dad. It's terrible parenting.
So I'm thinking it's like work hard, play hard kind of situation. So it balances out the two energies. No, it's not too strict and it's not too giving. It's both. It's gonna balance out, like work hard, play hard.
It's stripping.
Stripping, yes.
Or it's givict.
Give it, yeah.
Givict is half giving, half strict. Sounds a bit superstitious to you, says Kayla. Well, that's NI for you. NI, you could call it superstitious when it's applied to, like, spiritual stuff like that. But, when you say this, that team may look like they put together a team of superstars, but this team here is going to be better because they've got a lot better team chemistry. If you say that, right, people assume that references something real.
Yeah.
And we can come up with examples of it. But it's no more warranted a conclusion than what Rachel's talking about. So whether or not you call something superstitious really depends on what you're talking about rather than how you're talking.
I mean, it's just like people talk about Mercury retrograde. All of a sudden now, Mercury retrograde is like pretty popular. So a lot of people, even probably my mom at this point, who has no interest in astrology whatsoever, she knows when it's Mercury retrograde. So now, like a conjunction, which means that they're in the same sign. I don't know what sign it is, but I think it must be Capricorn because it's conjunct my sun at the moment. But anyway,
I think the proper way to say that would be it conjoins.
Yes.
You know who else conjoins? Me and Rachel with our genitals when we're making love.
oh,
Yeah, I have a demon in my body. His name is Kevin. He likes his coffee black, huh? He's got bad taste in coffee. That makes me skeptical of him right off the bat.
My mom likes her coffee black.
My dad does too.
So ESTJ.
Mm-hmm. He drinks it so strong and black. It's like his coffee is extremely woke.
I'm totally woke.
I drink mine with shit tons of creamer in it.
To the point where people are like, this isn't even coffee. Like Delilah was like, she's like, you guys really like cream. I was like, Delilah, this is not coffee. This is coffee with creamer.
This covered creamer at the moment is a little hot still.
Mm.
And I put a little more creamer in it to cool down. Even though it's powder, you'll still cool it down a little bit.
Yeah.
That's my thinking anyway.
You got close to it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Taylor's here.
Hey, Taylor.
Legends Fall. Another ESTP is in the house. You guys should.
ESTP?
You guys should. Circle around each other, going.
You know, what makes me so happy is that so my sister is ISFJ, right? The thought of her being with an ESTP actually makes me really happy.
But she just needs to find one, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, Serbia is probably a good place to go, right? I mean,
Ghostwriter says, Rachel, you have such a good personality. You're such a good person. I love your attitude. You brighten my day. I love how stable you are. It's nice to see you.
aww.
It's nice to see you. I second everything Ghostwriter says right there. I agree with it all. She is so pleasant.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
There's only room for one ESTP in any group smaller than 100. I agree. I agree. I'm making an effort to be friends with ENTPs more, to try to do that.
Homeroom.
Yeah, tell us more about Kevin. I want to learn more about him.
Yeah.
Did he serve in the ghost military? Is that how he came to drink his coffee black? That's what my dad credits. Of course, your mom drinks her coffee black, and she wasn't in the Navy.
No, but in a similar style, she drinks it black because she said her first job that she ever worked at, they didn't have anything for the coffee except for just the coffee. So she learned to drink it black.
It's okay, Ghostwriter. I like your idea, whether you were kidding or not. I like the idea that you're possessed by a demon named Kevin who likes their coffee black. And their reasoning is some particular experience that they've attributed to it.
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't know. My lack of knowledge became a problem for me then. What do you think? Pretty good train whistle, huh?
That is a pretty good train whistle.
Woo, woo, I'm a train whistle. Woo, woo, I'm a train whistle. Okay, so I'm not possessed by any demons, but I am possessed by the spirit of America.
That's true.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
You think you use your effects for Thomas the Tank Engine?
I ain't no demon. I would call myself a godly man. Which is not to say godlike, but rather trying to be consistent with the will of the Lord. I have piety. Okay? I'm chock full of piety. Such mixed feelings having an ISFJ sibling as an INFJ. You get along swimmingly, but there's a constant reminder that they're the well-adjusted version of you.
Oh my God. Who said that?
RC.
Holy shit.
Is that true for
That
you?
hits the head, nail on the head. I just got my life.
Well said, RC. Well said.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for speaking to my soul.
Well, I mean, that's part of the fun of being Rachel's significant other, right? That throws a wrench into their whole family dynamics.
It's amazing. Yo, I cannot wait. I'm really hoping. We have a potential wedding to go to next year, which is my cousin and his fiance, my cousin Ryan. I'm hoping we'll be invited. You know, I don't know with numbers and everything. But if we are, I cannot wait for you to meet my family because I think they're gonna love you, and I think you're gonna I think you're gonna be very highly entertained by them.
I already experienced some of her family. Basically, Rachel is her brother is probably an ENFJ, but basically Rachel is the only intuitive in the family. In a large family, as far as I can tell, which sort of explains explains a lot of things, really. You know, when we first started going out, she'd sort of hit me over the head with shit that I didn't need to be hit over the head with. You know, Rachel, I'm not an ESTJ. You don't need I know what that is, Rachel. It's fine. Yeah. But she's used to dealing with people where if she's not hitting them over the head with shit, you know. Yeah. Rachel is a very gullible type of person. Well, she's not gullible. The thing is, what she is she's susceptible to the following. If I were being deceptive at all, she would. No, she's not susceptible to being gaslit. She's remarkably non-susceptible to it. It's the thing that saved her being an NI-Dom. You know. Now, that's the thing is, attempts to gaslight an NI-Dom will drive them further into mysticism and metaphysical explanations for things that don't really need those.
Yes.
But so it will have a negative impact on them. But it's difficult to get an NI-Dom to stop being aware of the universal truth about something. Mm-hmm. You know,
it fucking can tear me apart if it's like not if my reality's not matching up.
Hi. What did you cook it?
For Rachel.
Oh, thank you. Ooh, that looks like good salmon.
It is very good.
Is it
Want
good?
some?
No, I'll just take a bite first.
Okay.
That's plenty
Thank
for both
you.
of us. Thank you.
I didn't think that you were much for salmon.
Well, no, but I am interested to
Okay.
taste this. I'm interested to
I
taste
got
it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So my clients gave us a Christmas present, and they asked me if I wanted some salmon that they had, and I didn't really want any salmon, but I said I thought my dad might enjoy it, and so I said, well, I bet my dad would enjoy a piece of your salmon, so sure. And so they brought it this morning. It's good salmon.
You know what salmon's good with?
What?
And I'll credit this to the Jewish heritage. Cream cheese.
Mm.
I know it's a weird combo, but it actually because they smoke it and it's really like salty. It's good. That's good salmon.
Yeah. So I think maybe the cat will like to eat some of it.
Maybe.
I don't want more than one bite of it, even though it's really good salmon, just because I'm just not a fish eater.
The closest to fish, you and my dad will be able to eat together because he does not like seafood either. Like the farthest he'll go with seafood is shrimp.
I don't like shrimp. I like lobster.
Lobster's delicious.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's ever tried lobster. I think he would like it in the end, but he's very adverse to a lot of different foods. Picky eater. My dad says he's not. It's funny. Like my dad says he's not a picky eater, but he totally is because he says he's not a picky eater because he eats the same thing. He always eats what he likes.
Right. I'm not picky. I just always eat what I want.
Yeah, exactly. I'm dad. Like, don't you understand? We eat the stuff because you like it.
Are INFPs charming while communicating? I don't find them charming. I find them intimidating. But that is because of our type relationship.
I would say it's 50-50. I think it depends on the situation, like the place of where they're speaking, and if they feel comfortable. So, like, I worked with an INFP who at work was so charming. She always had people over by her station because she was able to, like, gab with them. But I also had an INFP friend who I introduced her to a new, like, beer garden, and I bumped into some old friends, and she was so not like just loving it. Like it was so awkward that I was just like, I feel like I'm like a little kid right now, and I have to do all the talking. But they can be very charming.
Next, I would like to experience the presence of God's love. Do you have any advice for you? Actually need it? Maybe? Anal beads is a good answer too. That probably beats my answer.
Anal beads stuff.
Anal beads is definitely drink more holy water. Well, that might work.
I never drank holy water before, but that's a good idea.
Well, it's not just a good idea. It's the founding principle of God's Big Heaven Church, or the profit. It's the revenue stream in God's Big Heaven Church. Because, you see, God's Big Heaven Church, we've got two main selling points. One, we have the biggest heaven with all the newest shit. It's made in 2020. And it's continuing, Wi-Fi, and, Catholic heaven. It's like the Middle Ages,
You better believe it. You know it is.
But the other big selling point of God's Big Heaven Church is our monthly holy water delivery service. We stress the importance of continually consuming holy water, so if you accidentally die at any moment, you'll go straight to heaven. You'll be purified of all of your sin by the holy water you're drinking. I myself, as the archpastor of God's Big Heaven Church, will bless the holy water to make sure it's really holy. Okay. So part of how I bless holy water, of course, is I get some water, regular water. Start with regular water. This is step one of making holy water. Okay. I'll teach you guys how to make holy water.
Wow, you're like full-blown like spiritual advisor right now.
Yeah,
I'll
teach you. Like, for example, what I'll do, I'll make this coffee right now into holy water. It starts off as coffee. When I'm done, it'll be brown holy water. Okay?
Brown holy water.
Well, it's not going to change color. Don't expect it to change color. I'm not that powerful yet. You won't be able to see the holiness with your eyes. You'll be able to feel it with your throat when you drink it, though.
Okay,
So this is how you do it. First, you get your bong. And you get a piece of weed. We're going to burn through this weed fast.
Damn. Yeah, but you don't forget. It's half and half, so.
That's true. And also, don't forget that I've eaten a cookie, and that'll kick in at some point. And it's gonna be nappity time.
Good.
All right. So here we're gonna pack the bowl into the bong as such. Okay. Make the sign of the cross.
Oh, I missed that step. That's really important.
Okay. You do it a
Wow.
few times, so you really
Oh
make
my
it
gosh!
stick
Let
in
me see
there.
how you do it.
Piao and piao. Okay. Now.
Is it-
Really, the drink should be underneath the cross. I have to move it back here. Piao and piao. Okay. Now, I'm going to transubstantiate the blessing into the coffee. I hereby transubstantiate this blessing into the coffee by the powers vested in me as Archpastor of God's Big Heaven Church, among other religious titles that I've bestowed upon myself. You might still be able to see a little bit of a holy sheen. You see that glimmer right there?
Oh.
You can see that bit of light there. That's part of where the holiness is.
Oh.
It's still absorbing into it. It's not yet super saturated.
Part of the Holy Spirit.
Now let me drink this. Oh, I feel all the sin being absolved. It's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Wow, that's some powerful holy coffee. I really imparted a lot of holiness into the coffee.
I want to do it now.
You want to do it? You're gonna need that. Oh, you have a torch yourself.
Yeah.
Perfect. She has her own miniature torch.
So.
You gotta put the drink beneath the cross.
Oh.
You do the sign of the cross over the drink. You can just turn to the side.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, she is. Tiny Man 66. You're right. Rachel is beautiful. It's hot. It's warm coffee. It was heated up somewhat by my successful transubstantiation of the blessing. You can feel it got a little hotter.
And then. I bong rip it.
Yeah. You say I transubstantiate the blessing
I transubstantiate the blessing
into this drink.
into this drink. Fuck it.
That's just the sound of sin leaving the body. That is the sound of sin leaving the body. Obviously, the reason I don't cough so much is because I just don't really have that much sin in me. Rachel's still clearing out a lot of old sin, I think.
Yeah.
Eventually, she'll
I
stop
have
coughing.
asthma, okay?
You know what we need to do? We need to make a 1984 Olympics video about your struggles with asthma as a personal interest story before you race and get fourth place in the swimming.
Yes. Ooh, in the swimming event, no less.
Yeah, that's why it's such a struggle, a powerful story of overcoming a struggle.
Don't tell. Where is it?
You transubstantiated your soul into a bird. I don't think that's a wise idea. It can be difficult to get back. You're lucky you're still not tweeting in the woods, mister. You mad, bro? That's what's wrong with it.
Yo, I'm actually liking this video.
I like it too. He warged.
So I wasn't able to successfully. I think I got enough of the holy.
You gotta taste the coffee. You'll be able to taste the difference.
Okay.
If you got the holy in there, you'll be able to taste the difference. It'll taste a lot more pious
Okay.
than normal coffee. normal coffee tastes typically at a piety level of about 7, but that's sort of average pH balance for piety level, neither demonic nor heavenly. I bet you're 10 now, probably at least, maybe 11.
I see the sheen.
So you're at least a 10. That's a minute. You don't get the sheen until you're at least piety of 10.
Wow.
So it's 3 parts more holy than average liquid.
I feel like I should call my grandma and let her know.
Yeah, she'd probably be happy to hear that.
Oh my gosh. For some reason, I really want to say those exact words. Like I would love to like call my grandma and be like, Grandma, like go joke around and be like,
Eric's taught me how to make holy water.
Oh yeah. No, I can't joke like that.
It just, it turns out all you need is some weed, a blowtorch,
Yeah.
and the sign of the cross.
Yeah.
Eric, it seems your spirits are up today. Wait, I just got that. My spirits are up fine. I expect that the day will be fairly sleepy. I am watching Ace of the Diamond. Yeah, I feel happy. I do. I feel happy.
We're heading towards our most maximal state of being in our biorhythms.
we're getting close to 0. 0 being the best and 1 being the worst, right? If you get to 1, you're as far away from each other as you can possibly be. If you're at 0, then you're as close together as you can possibly be. And this biorhythm compatibility thing, and it shows like, Rachel and I score really well on this thing. We have like a net score of like 98 or something. Which
Yeah,
is
it's
just crazy good.
Really, yeah.
You can put in any 2 days in there. You're never gonna find anybody as compatible as we are on this thing.
No.
So it's like, even if it's just totally random coincidence, which is easy enough to dismiss as that, but it is kind of a crazy random coincidence that the mate that I got with is both into this kind of shit, and it all validates our relationship.
Yeah, it does.
The only things that don't really validate our relationship are things within her own astrology chart that say that she's not good for relationships or something.
Right, and that's coming from that like other astrologers. I always know what they're gonna say. I always know. Like, it's to the point where I like don't need to get like readings anymore because like, is that ignorant of me to say? Like, that's stopping my learning. Anyway, like, no one's impressed me enough where like I'm gonna pay someone for my birth chart to be read because I read it for free online now, like all the time. But we also have some of the best compatibility that I've ever had with anyone, and I'm like talking like celebrities and stuff.
Right. I mean, it is weird though, isn't it, that that on all these metrics she was already using, she ended up getting with me, and our relationship ended up being like very, very outliery in terms of the quality, like good compatibility on all those metrics.
Yeah. That's why, when I sometimes tell people, like, when they have, like, relationship questions, and they, say that, I mean, I don't want to invalidate anyone's lifestyle, because we're all entitled to our own, like, style of living, but when I say that, like, it's easy between me and Eric, I absolutely really mean that. And we both have dated and been with other partners where it was, there were bumps. And, like, not only bumps, but, like potholes where you just, like, you try. Like, it feels like work. It feels like a part of you is not okay in this relationship somehow. So it's like, at least for me, I'd be like, okay, let's see how we can work on this. But it never made sense to me. It was never like, oh, this feels right.
Yeah.
No.
You know, Kashtriya Dharma, you're actually quite right about that, in the sense that one of the most challenging things for an ENTP to learn is to not provide more information than is necessary. But it is something that some of us have learned. Like when I'm asked questions in a debate, I answer the question directly and then I am silent. That's a learned skill. It is true that if you're trying to battle with an ENTP, one of the best things you can do is be silent and let them keep talking and without accomplishing anything.
Oh my gosh.
But that assumes you're dealing with an ENTP that isn't me.
So, just because she came to my mind, I think I'm gonna try and email Jen because I've talked to her. I talked to you about it like so many times. Like you were able to do it with Corey, yeah. I just want to see what she has to say. Like, 'cause I think that you would really help her. She's definitely an 8 though. She's definitely an 8 because she was always an instigator. And it was kind of great. So she like one time we were at her like sister's house, and she has 2 other sisters. The eldest one, she gets along with pretty well, and the one that's like basically they're like Irish twins, are like a year apart. They're not close at all, and like Jen would be like, after dating like someone who's a homophobe because like she was like he like straight up like would like make fun of like gay people in front of her. So Jen one time was like to me, she's like, "Do you want to bring it up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like if you're gonna talk about this stuff, like yeah, totally, like bring it up." And it caused a fight, but like ENTP talking is just so refreshing. I have to say, I really like listening to ENTP talk. Not just any ENTP.
Wait for them to. So KD extends the metaphor here to say, wait for the ENTP to reload after laying down some suppressing fire, then headshot them, or chest, center, body mass, etc. Well, that's a fine enough metaphor, but presumably you're arguing about something specific, or at least if you're arguing with me, you are. And so, you know, assuming that I'm not really doing anything is always a mistake.
Oh man, I've never had a type be able to like make me cry. Like, I mean that in a good way. Like, you guys are tough. It's like you're everyone's friend, but you also like don't take shit. And it's something that I like as an INFJ, especially someone who's so introverted and so like people pleasing. Like I like that. Like that really is like something that like I admire in the ENTP. So
Thanks, Sterling.
you're welcome.
Well, Katie, I will say this, that it really benefits. It has really benefited me. Let me just put it this way: it's really benefited me to do YouTube, where I've gradually learned to. It's not so much that I've learned as I've exhausted the entertainment value of extroverted intuition unconstrained by introverted intuition. So at this point, I try to be. My goal is to be quotable in some sense, which means my goal is to prioritize NI. I'm aware of the fact that people remember the first thing you say and the last thing you say, and they forget stuff in the middle. I've had a lot of competition debate experience, and I'm constantly trying to train my debaters into nutshelling shit. You know, naturally, this forum requires a lot less of that than other forums might, but regardless, I know that it's shaped how I make media, and it's shaped how I think, and it's shaped how I talk, and in a lot of different ways. So being able to be shaped by a large set of external feedback is pretty important to an ENTP development, I think.
Yeah. That's pretty
We're kind of slow learners in some sense, you know.
Yeah.
It's like we need to make the same mistake sometimes multiple times, sometimes just once. Depends on the kind of mistake, I guess. What do I feel about Eric Thor's knowledge on typology? I don't really have a strong opinion about it. I don't know what he had to say about INFPs. In general, I'm happy to respond to questions like meow 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 says meow 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 meow. What do you think about that? That's fine, because then I'm responding to something specific. But Eric Thor has a lot of positions on typology, some of which I'm sure I agree with, some of which I'm sure I don't. Trouble growing up. I don't know if I call it trouble growing up. That would suggest that growing up is necessarily a good thing. I agree. Harry knows his stuff in general. He seems to be pretty right about a lot of things.
Who?
Harry from Cognitive Personality Theory. Of course, the things that he's right about, I think, are the spots where he's largely following along with what I'm trying to say here, you know. But regardless, it doesn't really
That's
matter.
good.
It's good, you know. It's not a bad thing. INFPs are a good pair with themselves alone. No one is a good pair with them. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true either.
I think I've known at least a couple of INFPs, so I believe had good relationships, good healthy relationships. I'm not sure what their relationship types were, what their partners were with, but
For some reason, I keep on thinking. See, I don't know. ISFP for ESTJ or INFP? I don't know.
I would say it should be, since they're judges, it should be INFP. I think ESTJ INFP is the type that's supposed. I think that the socionics dual is probably the best combination for INFP.
My mom would love an INFP kid. Are you kidding? Someone would be like, I want this and this and this and this.
They keep on nagging in a relationship. Well, that's true. I mean, here's the thing about INFP women in particular, but maybe men as well, is there's this. But I was hoping we would spend time together, and I was really wishing that you would be thinking about this yourself without me having to tell you. And I was really hoping that there's that shit, you know, which is like, okay, will you stop? Whatever this is that you're expressing to me here, I don't like it. Just like, but expectations, and controlling meanness.
I'm glad I never had that kind of experience with an INFP. I mean, not that.
I'm not really. I've had it sort of, but I've also seen it. You know, I've witnessed it being done to somebody. You know, somebody else.
Oh.
That's where I'm mostly familiar with it. Is not it happening to me, but me watching it happen to Corey and going, "Oh my god!" But I was really hoping that we could spend some time together when you came over and went today. I know you work really hard, but you know it's really important to me that we have an opportunity to be close together. It's like, oh my fucking god! You knocked that off.
Yeah, knock it off indeed.
I do not like that.
You know, I think I find that ENTPs are really good at measuring other people's relationships. Like they know who's not good for other people, but not really themselves.
That's true. I am so fortunate now. You know, it's like
Me too.
I don't know how much I can credit myself or just sort of luck, or Rachel maybe more than anybody should credit, but I don't think that I think that I quote unquote chose to be life partners with Rachel way before I had enough knowledge about Rachel to know if that was a good idea or not, right?
I had a little bit of knowledge. So
Vegan Dancer said, just like to say, Eric, I said ages ago you should go with an INFJ. What's your
vegan dancer?
at the time you were with an ISFJ? Well, you were right, Vegan Dancer. And I want to say, I stand shamefacedly corrected.
That's your piece of shit. Oh my gosh, you have so there's this like test that I think it was Oliver Linehan had some people take on or was it Sean O'Neill? I don't really remember, but I did take it, and like I think Oliver was like taking notes on it, and it's all about like people's expressions and stuff. I so like wish I remembered what test it was. I think it would be fun to take.
I know that song, KD, Heaven and Hell by Dio. I don't know, I can't sing it. I don't know it as well as Rainbow in the Dark. Who else here knows Rainbow in the Dark? Who could sing Rainbow in the Dark? By Dio. 'Cause it's a rainbow in the dark. Just a rainbow in the dark. That's the only part I remember of it. It's the only Dio song I can actually sing. But I'm so pleased to have you referencing Dio here in the chat, KD. Thank you for that.
I like that. That's like a good Instagram name, Rainbow in the Dark.
Rainbow in the Dark.
Yeah.
I think probably I need to start. Okay, George Foreman, why are you being gross?
Oh god.
I don't know. I don't really hang out in Discord. It's too chaotic for me.
Seriously.
Too many people, too many words, too much, yeah.
Sometimes it's like not even like anyone. Like sometimes I'll be in there and then like no one will be there. No one. And then you have to wait for the other people to like be in. Like so like I like to be in there when there's like Sandy and Running Fox. Because I don't like to be the only girl in the fucking chat because people could be mean. You know? So it's like I like chatting with the girls. But they're not always like so it's just a mess. That thing is a fucking mess. There's so many options, there's so many rooms, there's so many people talking. There's a lot of people who aren't even in the community on Discord for our server for TWFP. So like then you have like people who like typology, but they don't know anything about it, so they're trying to type people like, ugh. And anywhere that Cloud's the leader, you know there's stuff you can't trust. So
I mean, they're still there. They're not broadcasting anywhere or publishing anywhere. Rooms are still there. People could always go in there. You know, it's like
true.
I
would use that more.
The thing is, the same problem always happens. That always happens when you have an environment that's that sort of egalitarian and everybody can have as much voice as they want. Then, you know, some voices come to predominate. Well, that's to be expected in that's to be expected in a setting like this because I'm live streaming, though you always know which voice is going to predominate. So, the problem with group stuff like that, where anybody can come in and start talking, is that it's very prone to being very spotty in terms of its quality. Sometimes you go in there, and you can go in them. I don't know if there's people there or not. Probably not. They're just there basically at this point, so that when people say, "But I want someplace to hang out after the thing," and I just go, "Well, you can go hang out there. You're welcome to hang out there.
Yeah.
You can hang out on the Discord server if you want." I'm not a mod in that, so
It's just like a lot.
if I were a moderator in the Discord server, then I would probably ban a bunch of people because if Cloud's a significant voice in that setting, it's gonna be.
And then like other stuff happens too. It's just like bad news bears for some reason. Like
There's still a lot of unnecessary drama. So the thing is, but that's fine. I don't oppose the Discord servers, Katie.
Right.
I'm not saying they shouldn't exist or that
it does.
or whatever. How much do I earn from the typology profession? I mean, that's kind of a rude question to ask, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
But
That's what I was thinking as well.
I earn $100 an hour. I earn less than that because I usually go more than an hour.
No, Discord is fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just that like there's certain people who like go in there and they think they know what debate is, and then they'll talk about like philosophy and like bullshit, and then they'll like argue. And it gets like dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like I came in here to chat because I thought this was like a chat server, but I guess it is a place to like argue. It is called Discord, so.
I see you're raising one eyebrow while putting the other eyebrow down, Shikari Bono. So yeah, the point is, I'm all for opposing censorship as well, Katie, but I'm also for having communities in which people can meaningfully interact and actually have conversations. I've gone to the Discord server before and had good conversation. I've also gone in there and just said, okay, this is just, I don't know, this is a mess. Why am I having this conversation? The only reason I would have it would be to record it and make a video or something, because it's not like I'm genuinely being engaged ideationally by most of the people there. They're not actually, interested in. And it's like there's nothing. I don't get anything out of it. Basically, they're not smart enough or right enough for it to be worth my time. Around here, if somebody's just provoking and saying nasty shit, I just time them out or I'll just ban them. Because I had my position on that has changed over time. I've become more utilitarian about that and more FI. Like this is my place where I want people to be able to have conversations and be able to be comfortable. I don't want people to feel attacked. And my position on this has evolved over time. I used to be much more anti-FI in that regard. And now I think I'm more considerate of other people's FI. I don't agree with that, Katie. Letting it be a free-for-all has not, historically for me, turned out to be a good thing. People can't be reliably entrusted with their own agency in that regard.
Yeah, like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I went in there and I was like, hey, hi, and I want to talk. Like, and of course, like, no one answered.
And then the next time that I went on there, they were like, "Oh, are you high? Like, what does it feel like to be high?" And I'm like, "I don't fucking know. Like, I smoke every day, like all the time. It's the same shit. I'm me.
Same place. It's whereby.com/TWFP1 or TWFP2. Um, well, look, there's a difference, Katie, between people silencing you because they don't want to hear your perspective, and you getting banned. You getting banned only happens if I hide you from the channel, in which case nobody sees what you have to say. But you've never been. You don't seem to me to be a banning candidate at all. I don't perceive you as crossing any boundaries, really. You know, there are certain boundaries that I don't like to people to cross, and I will either time if they put in some time being cool and cross boundaries, I'll just time them out. But if they're new and they're crossing boundaries right away, I'll just ban them. You know. Well, Opaloid chose the wrong team. Is what happened. Opaloid chose the wrong team. He missed, which brings me back to the title of this live stream, which is I don't need courage because I have the moral high ground. And when you have the moral high ground, you don't need courage. You're right. You are correct, and you're not really subject to meaningfully legitimate critique. When you don't have the moral high ground, you are incorrect, and you are subject to critique. And so that's why I don't need courage. I mean, the thing is, I wasn't saying choose me or them. They were saying Eric's evil. So choosing them precluded hanging out with me.
Look like someone from BTS.
No, that's great. That was cool. Put it like that. Let me show everybody.
BTS. Korean pop star.
All right. Well,
K-pop.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm not evil. I am accountable. I did respond to all of their critiques and stuff. That's very. I just think of that as a Liverpool haircut.
Ooh, thanks.
You know, wouldn't you say that kind of Liverpoolish?
Yeah, I got a mop top.
So many INFJs have come and left. Don't leave him, Rachel.
Oh my gosh.
It's not true that.
Oh my gosh, that hurt so much. Oh my god. I felt that. Wow, who said that?
Vegan dancer. It's true in a channel sense, but it's not true in a relationship sense.
Oh my
It's not
gosh.
like I've had a bunch of
Thank
INFJ
you.
relationship partners.
That was so genuine. I appreciate it, you know? Whoa, I like literally was like boom, boom. Like, I felt that one.
I don't feel like,
Whoa.
I don't think Rachel's going to leave me. I don't worry about it.
I really am so in love. Like, I told my grandma. For me to tell my grandma that I'm in love, that's serious. Because she was like,
That's some serious.
It is. My grandma, like, she was like, why would you, why are you in California? Like, do you love him? And I said, yes, grandma. Like, yes, I do love him. I'm like, yeah, we do love each other. It's really good. And she's like, aw. She's like, I'm so glad. She's like, love each other every day. Me and grandpa were blah, blah, blah. We were very much in love and just stay happy. And I was like, thanks, grandma.
Yeah, I love Rachel a lot. Rachel's great. Rachel loves me, I can tell. And I love Rachel. And there's no reason at all why we would ever split up, I could see. Because my perspective is that if we were to split up for some reason, all I'd have to do is then try to find another person that I could get to as close to this quality of a relationship as I could find. You know, I just have to find substitute Rachel that's not quite as good at best. Is the best that I'd be able to do. So, I mean, I can't imagine an easier, more pleasant, and more gratifying relationship than this one, where we're concerned about the same sort of things.
Yeah.
Like,
And,
do we have enough weed? That's a matter of concern for both of us.
It is.
Is our partner going to bust our chops about smoking too much weed? That's a matter of concern for both of us.
For both of us.
And so the
yeah.
answer is no. Our partner's not going to. We're both thinking the same thing. We're both thinking like, God, I'm going to be policed here. Oh wait, there's no police officer here in this relationship. It's a miracle.
And
finally, I'm in a relationship without a police officer. How did that happen?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying to them too. Like, it feels like, okay, like, is something wrong with me? My dad literally asked me. He was like, okay, what's going on? Yo, but like, I have standards. Like, I did not trust the last, because like, they were like, what happened with Chris? Because like, I just told them, I was like, look, it's personal. I don't feel comfortable telling you. It's more his business than it is mine. But he lied to me, and I just can't. Like, for my health, I fucking can't. Because it was true. Like, I was like mentally melting down. And oh my God, when I was on the fucking porch, my dad asked me. He was like, what's with you? Nothing's with me.
The thing is, it's also a matter, Kayla Cunningham, of it's also a matter of whether or not the person runs afoul of what you need, right? So if I needed Rachel to nag me less, then you might say I'd become a bit of a nag. If I say, okay, you need to stop saying this kind of shit to me. I don't like it, or whatever. But I don't have to do that because she's not doing shit that bothers me.
Oh my God, same.
So I think Rachel might be a bit of a nag as well if I were doing shit that bothered her, like telling her to finish eating all of her food.
Yeah.
And Rachel, hey, you ordered all that food, you need to eat it all. If I were to be like that, she would start getting pissed, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would.
So the thing is, I'm not thinking about her SI. Maybe I should think about it more. She feels guilty because she's not thinking about my SI more, because she thinks that's what I need because I'm seeking SI.
Yeah.
But I don't really need that. I just need to be a little bit of a big boy and feed myself sometimes, That's all. It's not that big of a deal. Most of my SI is handled by Google Calendar and Gmail and stuff.
Well, that's stuff I like taking care of. Your emails and stuff. What? It's not. Then it's tomorrow.
Wow. Rachel's phone's coming soon.
Yeah. So.
No, she's a 7.
I love handling his email. I like kind of being his secretary, man. Like I went to school for this ish. If I can help you with that, I'm happy to.
Well, I actually think she's 8. I don't blame you for not getting the 891, for disagreeing with me about 891, because I believe her 891 is last in her tri-type. It's often difficult to distinguish that last one. So, in other words, if you have 8 last in your tri-type, you're unlikely to display much as an 8. If you have 4 last in your tri-type, you're a lot less likely to display as a 4. I have 4 last in my tri-type, so while I am an individualist, I guess I display plenty of 4-ishness. I almost never actually resort to 4, because resorting to 4 means walking away from my perceived obligation to justify everything.
finger waggy.
Which one? 4 or what?
4 8.
4 is.
That's what I thought too.
4 is actually more finger
Oh,
waggy.
so this.
4 is
Okay.
fuck
Fuck
y'all,
off.
y'all. I'm going home.
Yeah. Yes, it is. I always used to Irish exit on my friends and.
Is
turn
that
them
called
off.
Irish exit?
Yeah.
Fuck all y'all. I'm going home.
Yeah. But not well. Not telling anyone, but I say it. Yeah. I don't fucking care. But see, it got me in trouble because then I would DUI a fucking dumbass.
Rachel,
Don't
your
matter
past.
shit.
Just let your past go.
Thanks, babe.
No longer is a burden to you. You
It
are
isn't.
you are entirely relieved of all. You are absolved of all past wrongdoings.
Thank you. It's the House of Christ, is it?
It's God's big heaven church.
God's Big Heaven Church.
Hmm.
I'm so glad it's big.
Yeah, when you take your ball and go home, then you're being a 4.
So, can I tell I know we said like over the past, but can I tell a funny like personal story where it's like totally accepted by score?
Yeah, sure.
So, when I was like in my tweens, me and my sister used to make like homemade videos with our camera and our friends. So they would be like scripted and stuff,
Mhm.
and we would act them out. And so it was my birthday party, and I wanted to do that. Like I was like, hey, we're gonna like, start like recording. Like let's like start like doing stuff. It's for my fucking party. And my sister was upstairs with her friend, and I was like, they're being no fun. They're like getting like smoochy on each other, and I was like not into that. I was like, it's like my party. I'm like, can we please like do what I want to do? And they wouldn't listen to me, so I fucking kicked them out of my house. I was like, get out of here. Like, you're not obeying, like, you're obeying orders.
You aren't meeting the terms of this arrangement.
Yeah.
A spiritual boss, it exists. Spiritual boss. David Sanderson, no, I am not doing that. It is possible in theory that this evening I will feel like doing that, but it is impossible, even in theory, that I know enough that I want to do that to commit to it now.
That's a grown-up ENTP. Oh, you're still such a little kid. It's so cute.
Spiritual ass kicker. Spirit ass kick.
Speaking of spirit ass kick, I can't wait for Cobra Kai to come back.
Ooh, I know.
Yeah.
If you are a watcher of Attack on Titan, it's back for season 4. We've watched 3 episodes of it now. So far, it's been a little slow. It's been a little slow getting rolling.
Yeah, and yo, it's like seriously all taken from that movie 1917 or whatever. That one movie that I saw when I was in New York. The one about the war, the ISDP. I swear to God, they took like most of like even some of like the lines almost. Like,
But I mean,
that movie.
but Attack on Titan predates that movie. Not this season, but the main story arc predates that movie.
Yes, the main story arc does, but
And it involved this part of it the whole time. Like this part was built into the story before it even started.
I know, but I'm just saying that like they were heavily influenced by it. It shows.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it definitely is making it slow. Like I'm like excited now to see like where they're gonna take this next. I think they're over it. Like, no.
Have I been to Europe? Yes. Have I talked about Alan Watts? Well, I don't have a very positive opinion about it. Yes, I've been to Europe. Let's see. I got to work on that. I got to work on what? What are my guys' Christmas plans? We don't really have any Christmas plans. Because we had Christmas plans, but then the condominium canceled everyone's reservations.
You know what? Honestly, I don't even care because I'm excited that our biorhythms are going to be like exact, and also that we'll be together on Christmas.
You know what else I'm excited about?
What?
Tomorrow's Patient Appreciation Day at the weed store, where we'll be able to get, I believe it's 5-gram eighths. So basically, we'll pay for an eighth for the
Sweet.
5-gram.
That's dope.
We got 5 grams for the eighth price.
Cool.
I think we can each do that once. So
Okay.
if whatever the deals are that we can each do once, we'll try to do those, and we'll
Yeah.
kind of stock
Sure.
up
Why
on
not?
weed tomorrow. So that's exciting.
That is exciting.
What's my opinion about Russell Brand? I think he is blah blah bland. London. I think he's pretty funny in some of his movies, but I find his politics piao. So this is crazy, Shakira Bono. I was nagging with my ex-girlfriend to communicate and call and meet with me more. She tried to explain she can't, but I blocked her in anger. Now I'm missing her. It's been 5 days. Will she contact back? I mean, that's so far from my scope of reference. I can't imagine blocking my girlfriend in anger.
Okay, well, I guess I have. Now that you put it in like simple statements like that, I have. I would say that if anything, you should be I'm not gonna should you, but it might be advisable for you to make the first move since you were the one who did the blocking.
The socially appropriate role for you now is supplicant.
Yeah.
I think is what Rachel's trying to get at.
Yes, it is. And like, don't be afraid to be the first one to be like, yo, I'm really sorry I did that. It was out of like in haste or whatever.
Don't be afraid to reveal the tender center of your moistened dewdrops. Okay, don't be afraid to reveal the tender center of your moistened dewdrops.
Yes, yeah.
That's the best
That
way
is
to
the
look at
best
this.
way. Yeah.
See, I mean, my position is if I'm mad at a significant other, that I need to talk to them more right now until I stop being mad at them.
Yes. Yes. It is.
It's
And
never.
that's what makes an INFJ cry because it's like I don't know how to say.
I want answers right now.
Yes.
I want all the answers now. I want all the resolution now
Yes.
for all problems, heretofore and extending forever into the future.
Yep.
I want them all resolved right now.
Yes. You have to invite that boat into that conversation too.
Let's talk about the boat. Time for us to have a boat talk. God damn it.
It is a really good.
Rachel knows she's in trouble if the boat comes out.
Yeah, I really do.
Rachel, I want to talk to you about a certain
Let's
boat.
say it.
Oh, shit. What did I do? You are disrespecting this boat.
Does it matter what the boat is made of? No, I wasn't even thinking about what the boat is made out of at all.
Okay, so Shakira Obama says, I tried to make the first move. I called her. She said she can't fulfill my demands. Then she cut my call time consecutively, twice. Now it's her time to make the next move. Well,
Sounds like it's over.
Sounds like it's over, right? Yeah. So you should listen to her. She's correct, probably. She can't meet your needs, so let her go.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the whole thing.
No, you have nothing to be sorry about, Rachel. That's just Shikari being avoiding accountability. Sometimes it's a good idea to listen to what people say.
That's why I want to do a tarot.
Here, I'll do a tarot for you.
Ooh.
I'll do a quick tarot for this person right here, Shakira Urbano, and then you can do your tarot thing if you want.
Okay.
So first, I do a quick Shakira Urbano. Look, this is the state of your relationship as you imagine it. You're the star. You're a wonderful person who's delightful and loving and deserves everything they want. Here's the relationship as she sees it, or he. Just nonstop judgment. Nonstop judgment. Just you judging. And this is how its future looks. She walks away without you as the empress. I'm the empress. Get away from me.
And then you can be the empress too.
Or you can be the empress. Yeah, you can be the empress if you want.
Of your own life, you know?
Yeah, be the empress of your own life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the revelation
You don't need
here.
it.
Okay. Rachel, let's try this idea. We're going to have 3 stacks of 3. What do you say? Okay.
3 stacks of 3.
And
Okay, and then.
You sit here.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you pick the 3 cards. Pick 3 for the first stack. 1, 2, 3. Now, I perceive this to be a love life reading. Okay, there's gonna be 3 stack options. That's stack number 1. Stack number 2. One, 2, 3. So this is going to be specifically a love life reading, I think. And it's going to, if you have questions about your love life, you'll say to yourself, I choose stack number, yeah. Okay, so this is stack number 3. Picking 3 cards for stack number 3. You've got, card 1, card 2 right there.
Oh, I saw it.
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
As long as they didn't see it.
And one more.
Okay.
Cool.
So, now,
So choose.
before she picks up any of them, you think to yourself, go, which stack represents my love life? Which stack feels like my stack?
Mm-hmm.
Is it stack number 1, closest to the stack number 2, right next to it, or stack number 3, over there a little bit? Which one is it? Once you've chosen your stack, then Rachel will go through them one at a time. You've got 5 seconds left to choose your stack. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've chosen your stack.
So,
This is your
love life. First card, Knight of Cups. That is a very romantic card. He's got those flowers in the cup. He's about emotions. But look, the thing about the Knight is that he's like, actually, no, he's face forward. He does have his eye on the prize, but he's got those flowers. It's very romantic.
I think the first card represents a person's attitude. The second represents their reality.
Oh, in reality, it's the 5 of Pentacles. You're kind of feeling left out in the cold. You want to show this, but in reality, you feel more like left out in the cold.
And then the third one is the directionality.
4 swords.
Waiting.
Wait it over. Yeah.
You gotta wait it out.
You wait it out. Exactly.
Your current love life disease is like COVID. You gotta wait it out. If you chose stack number 2,
2 is
this is your attitude.
your attitude is the star. You're feeling yourself.
Maybe you're a little selfish and you're thinking about a relationship. You think you're the star of it, you know?
Well, right. I also see it as You're feeling yourself. You're feeling yourself. Next one is in reality, you have the six of sticks, 6 of wands. And you're victorious, so it's a good day for you.
Means that currently you're not really having big problems with your love life, but directionality?
In the directionality, you have too many cups. 5 of cups.
You need to stop slaying so much puss.
And you just gotta think about 2. 2 is balanced. So you're feeling yourself and you're victorious over it. But in the end, you're gonna have too many suitors and you gotta focus just on 2. All right, number 3. Ooh. First card is the 8 of Cups, emotionally moving on to new and higher grounds.
That's what your perception of where you are right now is.
Second card, 6 of Cups.
That's the reality. You're more settled than you think.
Yeah.
Directionality?
And the directionality is Ace of Wands, creative new ideas, spark of insight.
Your love life is going to lead you to the next brilliant idea that makes $1 billion.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome. Thank you, hoster.
Of
That's
course.
fun.
So, do you do any exercise? American food and car lifestyle makes me terrified. Rachel and I do a little bit of exercise every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the Cobb Estate yesterday, which is an outdoor area for walking into rounds and taking pictures.
Cool. It was like a railroad trail. It was cool.
It was fairly hot yesterday.
Yeah,
so,
it was.
As a consequence, we didn't go super far because it was too hot for
I'm
that.
so glad that you chose not to. We chose not to because it was hot and my lungs were like.
Maybe someday we'll go on a cold day and do the actual hike, the 2.1 mile hike.
Yeah, we could. Mm-hmm. I used to.
You'd have to wear better shoes.
What?
You need to wear better shoes.
Do
Those
I?
those shoes gave you blisters yesterday.
Well, it's because I left this on.
Oh, it's because you left your anklet on?
Yeah, I didn't think it was gonna do anything, and it did.
I see.
Yeah. So, but those with long socks, good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was actually really happy that I wore them. Here's your number 1. Here's the number 2.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
I've been feeling those.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay.
We do occasionally do some exercise.
Yeah, we do. When my bike tire was fine, we would go bike riding. And we do go.
MMGs on the ready, they have 1 point of ingress. I have no idea what that sentence
Yeah,
means.
what does that mean?
Massively multiplayer games on the ready, they have 1 point of ingress.
Never. I don't know what ingress means.
I actually had to ban him, Ghost Rider. He just got too spiteful. He was really starting to be kind of just consistently shitty in all his comments. Like, just moving from being provocative to just insulting. To me specifically, but sometimes to Rachel too, and that's ultimately what got him.
Yeah,
banned, you know?
I don't know.
It's like, it's one thing to be provocative, it's another thing to just be hateful. And at a certain point, he got so frustrated by what's unavoidably a challenging environment for him. You know, it's like he's an ESFP who's being forced to take action continually on an external metaphysical field. It's not his native way of being.
Mm-mm.
And no, it's just he's a fish out of water, you know. He's always going to be a difficult person to integrate into a community that's centered around ideas because he doesn't respect them.
Especially on the metaphysical plane.
Yeah, he just doesn't respect them. So, and he never will. And that's part of being a personality type, unfortunately, is that we are constrained to being who we are within certain, there's a certain amount of, but he's like every ESFP that's ever been around here, frankly. Some of them are provocative in some ways, some provocative more in other ways, but they all behave the same way. They like the idea of the place, and then they can't handle it, and then they become destructive.
Okay, so it's so true. I had that experience so much. Like, I don't know. It just always ends up like that with me in ESFPs, especially. But like, this was more about you. But like, he was saying stuff about me. Like, I don't know why. And it's like that's a trend. It goes like that.
I mean, I don't doubt that he is still coming around in various guises or whatever, but I've actually banned Cloud, that account from the channel. So
Yeah, I heard about that, Razor M.
well, Rafael Alvearos, it means you thought I was his friend? Boy, you use that term lightly. I mean, I never thought that. It sounds all philosophy, but I don't get it.
Honestly, I thought he had like the hots for post Eric. And the way he would like get attention was through being provocative.
Do you think the situation that I'm going through with my girlfriend is your issues in INFP? I don't know, Shakiri Bana.
Yeah, we don't know.
I just have little bits of information you're throwing out here, and it's not enough for me to draw conclusions about. What does it mean to say to a certain extent you're constrained to be who you are? Well, it's like Cloud's never going to be effective at using meanings and mappings to understand things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in his nature. He is a territory person, not a map person. But because the nature of reality right now, he ends up spending most of his time operating in an ecosystem that's not conducive to his nature.
Oh my god, it's almost like laughable, really.
I mean, it's sad, I think, almost more than anything else. It's not just him. It's
No.
He doesn't attribute any value to meanings, which means, for example, if you go, but Cloud, the map says we should go this way. He'll say, my experience and or my current feelings and or something else is more important than what the map says, regardless of the context. Sometimes it's good to say that, what he's saying. We shouldn't pay attention to the map here. We should pay attention to our particulars. But sometimes it's totally wrong to say that. He's going to say it no matter what. And unfortunately, he's operating in a context where most of the time meanings are important. Mapping is important. Much more important than experience because of the ecosystem in which we're operating. So I do mean things when I say things, Raphael. I'm not just talking out my ass. I like how you're trying to position it like that because it allows me to clarify. No, I'm not just talking out my ass. I actually do mean things. And there's a big difference between people who actually mean things like me and people who don't. And how do you know it's because he doesn't know what the map says? Maybe that he gets it, but he doesn't agree. No, I'm not saying he doesn't know what the map says. I'm saying he doesn't believe the map ever ought to be prioritized. He always trusts in the particulars. That's why his mapping always changes. Like now he says he's INTJ. And he doesn't have any problem with this, right? The fact that he thinks the map can constantly change, that the city was, it used to be the city was over here, but now the city's over here. And that's fine. And I'm not going to worry about anything like that. Maps just do that because I don't know anything or care about maps at all. Does that mean I'm unable to say that the city's over there? No, I can still say that. So I still operate in a world where I'm referring to maps, but they just don't make any sense to anybody else because I don't understand that maps need to be consistent across time.
Oh, that's so painful.
So, Raphael, at this point, if you're still trying to fight this point, you're not listening to me or caring about what I'm saying.
Hi, PNP. PNP, the kitty pageant winner.
Would you like more of the food that you like? Okay. The cat was so upset with us for a few days.
Yeah,
you know what she was?
was.
She was disappointed in us.
Ooh, that was a really good word to use
Mhm.
there, Bae.
And it hurt.
She
me to
was
know that
disappointed in us. Yeah.
But we finally got her the food that she likes. We have now 4 bags of cat food.
Oh my gosh.
Why? Because Kitty didn't like the first 3. That's why. That's why we have 4 bags of cat food. Because Kitty didn't like the first 3 bags.
No, she didn't. I knew she wasn't gonna like one of them, unfortunately. But she did her best. She really did. She was a trooper.
You are such a good kitty. We love you. We're sorry we didn't get you the food that you like. And I got her the more expensive food. She didn't like it.
No, she didn't.
Didn't
She
like it at
preferred
all.
it over the other 2, but she didn't like it. I didn't understand.
I disagree with you because Cloud cares about the meaning of stuff, even though he not behaves that way. No, you're not listening to me. He does care a lot about where the city is in relation to him. He doesn't care a lot about whether it's in the same place today as it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Today he cares a lot about the fact that Detroit is to the east of me. But tomorrow he may care a lot about the fact that Detroit is to the west of me. And to him, that's fine.
That's so ridiculous. What?
So do you understand what I'm saying, Raphael? Am I saying that all ESFPs are like that? Yes, I am. I'm saying that. Saying, but you can't make that kind of claim, Eric. I am making that claim, and I can back it up with plenty of evidence.
I think it's really funny. I don't know, because I've had a lot of experience with ESFPs. It's true.
Okay, but see, Raphael, you can say that, but you're not responding to what I'm saying
Yeah,
at
you're
all.
not.
This is the problem that I consistently have with you. Okay, so then you agree then the Cloud doesn't care about meanings. If in fact you think that's the definition of meaning, then you also don't think the Cloud cares about meanings. You see, you've double bound yourself. You can't have it both ways, Raphael. You can't, on the one hand, insist the Cloud does care about meanings a great deal, and on the other hand, also insist that caring about meanings means that the meanings are consistent across time, because Cloud is not consistent across time with his meanings. So you can't avoid this conundrum you built yourself here. You've made this bed, now lie in it. Raphael, the words you say, I hereby lie and said bed. Lying corrected. Period. You have made this bed. Now lie in it, Raphael. Do you see what you did to yourself? You did that to yourself, Raphael. You created that double bind yourself. You double bound yourself. Do not blame me for your double bind.
Wow, like, way to get, like, aggressive there.
Raphael, hey, you have double bound yourself. You've defined meaning in one way that proves that cloud does not care about meaning, while concurrently insisting the cloud cares about meaning. So you need to respond to what I said. Right. No. I am pointing out that he doesn't care about consistency of meanings across time. You're saying he does care about meaning, right? And that means he cares about consistency across time. But we all agree that his meanings change, his claims change all the time. So, in fact, that's inconsistent with your central position. So you are wrong, correct? Do you understand now? Have I made it clear enough? If you're an honest person at this point, you will say, yes, I get it now. You're right. I mean, meanings are objects on the map, right? But relating meanings to one another is how mapping works. So those relationships need to stay consistent, even when the frame changes, or else then you've destroyed the purpose of mapping. Right, but Raphael, listen. I can say to you that I am a male. That's not going to change. That's a ontological claim. I'm male now. I'm going to maintain that status indefinitely. Or I could say I am sleepy. That is not an ontological claim. Okay. All ESFPs don't care about meaning, may or may not qualify as dumping on cloud. Whether or not it does is irrelevant to the point here. Okay. Number two, the fact that I'm not saying that because I'm not talking out of my ass is a claim I made and substantiated with reasons. You've not responded to those, or you did actually, but you double bound yourself in the process. So you've lost the point. This is reality, being honest. I'm not being honest. What the fuck? Are you insane? I don't care about if you're honest with me. I'm an adult and the internet is none of your concern. Well, it's my concern. Oh, I didn't realize you so strongly countervalue honesty. I mean, if you're just lying to me to provoke me, then you're not worth my time. If you're not willing to honestly engage me, then why am I honestly engaging with you? I'll just ban you. You're wasting my time. You're just one of those fucktards. If that's the case, if you don't care about whether or not you're being honest, then, I mean, why talk to you at all? I mean, after all, I'm affording you the courtesy of being honest and telling you what I actually believe and arguing my position honestly. If you're not willing to do the same, you're certainly not worth my time. Are you? No, Raphael, you're not, for sure. If you're acknowledging right now that you come in here dishonestly, then I will not talk to you anymore. You're not worth my time at all. I mean, that's the very definition of trolling. If you don't think you are severance, a thing called severance. Once you've established your position, you don't get to sever from it. You are burdened by the consequences of your argumentation. If you don't think you are, Raphael, then fuck off. You know, I don't want you around here if you're not accountable for your argumentation, for the words you say, then I don't want you around here. You're not a good person. That's how we determine the difference between good people and bad people in the world. Good people are accountable for the words they say, and bad people are not. Good people want to be held to account so they can correct their bad behavior or wrongness. They don't want to persist in wrongness. They don't want to persist in dishonesty. They have a moral center that they uphold. I didn't ban him. I timed him out. I'm just telling him I will ban his ass. Because I've come to understand I'm prioritizing utilitarian calculus here, basically. I want an environment in which I can actually talk with people meaningfully. And if somebody's going to come in here and dishonestly engage, then I don't want to engage with them. And it's an FI thing. It takes me a long time to come to FI conclusions. Why? What's with the sudden change of philosophy? My feelings. I'm prioritizing my feelings. It doesn't feel good to be dealt with dishonestly. It feels like I've been tricked or duped in some fashion. That Raphael never actually had a point to begin with. He was just trying to get me riled up. And I don't like that. So he can go fuck himself. It's called growth. FI growth. The annoying thing is that other people who don't want to engage honestly will just argue surreptitiously that you banned them because you were losing the argument or some shit. I know, it's ridiculous. When they're not even engaging me with any kind of argumentation. They're not responding to what I'm saying. They're not acknowledging things that are obviously the case. At which point, like, even this engagement has shifted my mood, right? It's the sort of thing that I normally, historically, have not paid any attention to. Not really. But over time, I've gradually come to note when YouTube affects my mood after I'm done streaming. Sometimes people will say shit that like sticks with me and it'll bug me as I'm driving around. Usually not. The vast majority of the time, I get this other weird phenomenon that I get frequently, where somebody contacts me and says, okay, let's bury the hatchet. I know there's been bad blood between us, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have known that. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't even know who you are, dude. That's a much more common phenomenon. But because I don't remember shit that that actively. I'm not an active rememberer, let's say. Lots of thumbs up popped up, thumbs down popped up. That's how you know you're dealing with a spite monkey, right? They can't handle me just policing my shit the way I feel like it. So they're gonna try to do damage, try to be spiteful. Oh, fuck off. Again, it's like Nakamura Shelton, you're not here for any purpose other than to do damage. I can read you. Is that proof? No. Is it good enough for me to ban you? Sure. I'd be happy to. Because why? Because this is my house. You want to come in here and shit in my house, then at least shit in the toilet and use toilet paper and flush it down the toilet. Don't rub it on my walls. As Genexiel says, he disagrees with me all the time, but he's never been muted at all or timed out anyway. Because he's not here to be spiteful. Rafael Averos, I'm not talking to you when I say shit on me. I'm talking to Nakamura Shelton. You come here to I'm not sure what your purpose is, but my point stands. You have not acknowledged anything, have you? I pointed out that you built yourself a double bind and you not acknowledged it. Instead, you got all pissy with me. I don't know who Nakamura is. Probably Cloud or some other spike monkey. You know, possibly the person who you know came in and tried to sabotage my work last night when I was with my client. You know. I didn't accuse you of shit coming in here shit on me. Yeah, Raphael, you don't seem to be getting what I'm saying, or you're choosing not to. Right. So, I mean, that's obviously going to be frustrating for me because I'm engaging with what you. What are you talking about? I don't listen. I listened to everything you said, and I pointed out. That I said that I don't know what you are doing. If you're dishonest, right? Well, you said that I shouldn't be concerned at all about your honesty, but you're wrong about that. I disagree with you on that. And I can choose to be concerned about it if I want to, right? So I am concerned about it. So what's your response? I expressed why I'm concerned about it. What's your response to that? No, I'm saying, I'm assuming you're an honest person, but you've just made claims that suggest to me that you're not. You don't even care if you are perceived as such. Right? I typically offer everyone the benefit of the doubt to assume that they're honest, but you just said words to suggest that that's ill-advised in this instance. No, this is a separate point, Raphael. There are two separate points. Your dishonesty is displayed by your refusal to address what I said. But the thing that made me concerned was when you actually claimed that your honesty didn't matter. That was your official position. If that's your position statement, then that's a separate problem. That's not me rambling off. I have clarified two distinct, clear problems. Are you going to honestly address either of them or not? Note the stark lack of rambling.
Totally legit.
And this is the kind of shit I got to deal with, right? This is the kind of shit I got to deal with. I was very clear in articulating particular, specific points that I had made. He accused me of rambling off.
I was gonna ask him, like, are you looking to be like deleted? Like, what is happening here?
He's very close to being hidden from the channel. Attack the point, not the person. I mean, respond to what I say, for Christ's sakes. I've done you the courtesy of responding to what you say. Why won't you do me the reciprocating courtesy? So anyway, I'm going to continue to police this environment to prevent that kind of bullshit from happening. No censorship. I'm not censoring anybody. Keep that in mind. I'm saying, I don't want you at my party. You're bringing the mood down. In fact, you've brought it down so successfully that now I don't feel like continuing the party. So goodbye, everybody. Lights out. Time to go home.